Buenos dias. Hola. Good morning, everybody. What a pleasure to be here. Innovation is happening all around us. New ideas, new creative ways of doing things are happening more quickly than ever before and everywhere. Well, maybe not in the British Houses of Parliament. Oh. But almost everywhere else, we are seeing innovation happen more quickly. You see the wonderful presentation by Mercedes. Look at this guy's cameras, mirrorless cameras on gimbals. Every WhatsApp, streaming Twitter, everywhere the change is happening faster and faster. We need to ask ourselves, what are these changes? And more importantly, how can we harness these changes for our organization? Not just watch them go past down the river, but grab them and make use of these new ideas in our business. But perhaps, as well as what these innovations are and how to use them, maybe we start with the question, why? Why are these innovations happening? They're so visible. I've been 23 years in Oracle. There is more innovation today in a month than there was in a year. Why? The first reason is that we are able to connect into teams more quickly than ever before. It's easier to find other people. And as we hear, teams are what makes success. Teams solve problems. And forming a team is easier now than it ever was. We use social media, we use the internet, we use HR systems. I need to solve a problem in Oracle. I get Felix from Madrid, Chris from Singapore, and Asuya from Redwood Shores. We solve a problem. That's one reason. We use richer collaboration than ever before. Not just a phone call, maybe a meeting once a month when I was a kid. Now we use rich tools to collaborate with. We can build ideas, build intellectual property. It's not lost. Others can build on top. Distance doesn't matter. The end of distance. But there's a third reason for innovation happening so quickly today. And that is, all of us have access to a laboratory where we can test ideas. Do you think Tesla has to build a car every time they want to test something? Of course not. They use data. Do you think Airbus have to build a plane every time they want to make a change? They use computer-aided data. Do you think Oracle, when we look at product launches, marketing campaigns, sales compensation, do you think we have to do it for real every time? No. We use pools of data, data lakes, data marts, data warehouses. That's our laboratory. Test that idea. Test that hypothesis. Learn quickly. Will it work or will it not work? People meeting quickly into a team. Collaborative tools to build complex ideas. And a laboratory of data to experiment. We have innovation. Innovation happening faster than ever before. And there's more. Because amazingly, our society today is focusing much of that innovation, much of that effort, on technology. It's in technology we're innovating. We're creating even more tools, machine learning, data insights, which are building a platform to help us innovate even faster. We have an acceleration of innovation. an amazing opportunity, a breathless speed of change for all of us. And for those of us managing businesses, creating value for our customers, it makes us ask the question, what's possible now? Almost anything you do can change because of technology. Think of some things of value in your life. Maybe, of course, your food and your family, but maybe think about, I like to listen to music. I need advice on healthcare. Everything of value, we can now ask the question, can this be created in a different way? Now we have IoT and blockchain and cloud and AI. Can we create that value, the same value, in a different way? Could somebody else create that value? Could somebody else take that value? How do we deliver that value to the consumer? How does the consumer receive that value? Could that change? Could it be delivered by somebody else in a different way? Listening to music was black vinyl records. You're streaming over 5G networks. Healthcare advice was an old man with a leather bag full of medicines, and now it's the computer in your hand. Everything of value is now up to be grabbed. Taxis, airlines, energy production. We've seen trillions of dollars of wealth move from ways in the past of creating value to new ways. Netflix, one of the biggest names on our planet today, did not exist a few years ago, and the list goes on. But it will keep going for decades to come. Because the innovation is accelerating, questions can be asked again and again. Could I create that value? Could I use new technology to create that value even more quickly? Could I deliver that value to the consumer differently? It will go on and on. It's the opportunity of at least one generation, probably the best opportunity of many generations, to see huge wealth moving from production in one way to production in a new way. But, as we know, when anybody says there's a challenge, we say, oh, there's an opportunity. But also, when there's an opportunity like that, there's a challenge. There's a real challenge. And the challenge is on us. It's on us. The world is looking at us because we understand information. Line of business leaders, using information to streamline your business process. Architects look at information to make sure it's clean and in the right place at the right time. All of us here are associated and expert in information, and the world's eyes are on us. I have an aging population, fewer doctors. I must deliver more parcels, use less fuel. The answer? It's in information, surely. Information, how to use reducing resources and increasing demand. It's up to us. And we all have our role to play and a responsibility to understand what these innovations are and how we can use them to grow and progress in our society. We all have a role to play. Oracle's role has been actually, I think, very consistent for 30 years. For 30 years or more. We build tools to help others manage their information. We build tools to help others manage their information so they can manage it more efficiently and they can derive more value from it. These tools might be business applications, might be how you store data, it might be computing infrastructure, and more recently, they have all been made available as a service, of course, from the cloud. So you don't need to install and configure, you can use more quickly, you can use more easily, you can use more cost effectively. But the innovation not stopped there. In fact, just as I was saying, the innovation is getting faster and faster. In the next 19 minutes and 5 seconds, I would like to take you on a tour of the development groups within a Silicon Valley giant, Oracle. Let's take a look inside and what's happening. Because I know it doesn't always seem it, but we do have big ears. Hundreds of thousands of customers around the world for decades telling us we need to secure our data more. We cannot manage this data. It was fun, a few hundred users and a few terabytes. But now, with millions of users and petabytes, it's becoming too much. We listen to all of these voices and we innovate. Let's begin our trip. We'll actually fly to London, so we'll pop out to the airport. We'll take Iberian over to Heathrow, and we'll land in London, where it's just a little bit colder and even more wet. The city, of course, is full of noise and color. Brexit, yes. Brexit, no. Brexit, yes. But we'll avoid the city, and we'll go up the River Thames to the west of London, and we'll come to a town, many of you may have been, called Reading. And in Reading, actually, is our applications development group. They're all around the world, of course, but many of them are in Reading. And they've been working hard. In the past, business applications were pretty simple things. You recorded transactions. I bought 100 eggs. I sold 50 omelets. Maybe a little bit of workflow. These guys and gals have progressed applications to another level. The design for all of the cloud applications is that people be fully informed of the business around them. So even if you are in a team of 100,000 people or more, you feel you are engaged and you know what is going on. No more making decisions in a dark room. It's not good. They're designed to increase productivity. But now, just as Mercedes' presentation was showing, they're using artificial intelligence. This team have embedded artificial intelligence into the applications. Not just an engine outside, not just something for us to train and use. It's embedded into the cloud applications. It's a profound change. It's changing the whole concept of a business application. It was largely transaction recording and basic workflow. It was mostly passive. It would do what you asked and tell you what you wanted. Business applications are becoming intelligent. They are becoming active digital business advisors. Given an event, given a process problem, they will actively advise us what would be a good idea next. History shows, machine learning shows, in this situation, this is the best person to escalate to. This should be your forecast. This would be your advised direction. Why not? Why not? Digital business advisors. Oracle has always looked at business applications holistically across the whole organization. The divides we make between customer experience and supply chain management are really a little bit artificial. They're necessary, but artificial. In real life, our processes go across organizations, and we need to share our data. We need to share the language. If we've all got a different idea of what a customer is, it's going to be difficult to innovate. So, logically, our approach was to build a suite, all of the processes, all of the applications you need. You don't have to use them all, of course not. You can use bits if you want, but it's a suite. And we've been quite successful at doing that. Tens of thousands of customers in ERP. But why are you telling us this, Andrew? Are you boasting? There's real benefit in growing experience from users using ERP, supply chain management, HR, customer experience. We learn what are the best business processes, what really works and what doesn't. But we also build experience to be able to train machines with machine learning so they can give advice. And the opportunity for artificial intelligence to be embedded in our business applications is embarrassing. It's embarrassing. There is so much to do. The very word, or words, enterprise resource planning. Of course, artificial intelligence can help optimize our resources. Thousands of ways. Automatic pricing or discounting according to market changes. Optimization of resources. In supply chain management, the same. Optimizing logistics. The best way to save fuel is not to buy more efficient engines. It's to make sure you never have a truck that is not completely full going anywhere. Use the information. It may not be quite so obvious how we use artificial intelligence in human capital management, HR, people, but actually, it can be very useful. We can learn people with this degree, people with this who went on this training course, they are very successful here. People who did this course are very successful at this course. It can advise even on career advancement and customer experience, of course. It just begins with the idea of positioning exactly the right product at exactly the right time to the right person. Not just because I think so, I'm an executive, but because of machine learning, advising statistically the optimum opportunity. Advising, we can change, we can move, but a constant business advisor. Business applications will never be the same again. And there are further innovations. As we'll hear, we're using chatbots. We'll walk into our organization and we'll speak to our business applications and they'll advise us. It's already there. We're integrating the data we have with external data to enrich it. And we've innovated to ensure that it's easy to move from on-premise onto the cloud. After that, the concept of an upgrade is something for the past. My Spotify has been upgraded 3 times this week already. I want the same from my business applications. So we've made sure the last upgrade you'll ever do is to move from on-premise onto the cloud. Let's continue our journey. We're going to fly from Heathrow, and we're going to head north in the Great Circle, over the North Pole. We'll pass over the north of Scotland, of course, first. Take a look down at the beautiful beaches. They look like the Caribbean. Wow. Go down, put your foot in the water. You'll say wow, for a different reason. We go over Hudson Bay and land in San Francisco. 10 kilometers south, Redwood City, the heart of our database development group. They're charged with managing the software which manages most of the world's structured information. And they've been hearing some pretty big requests. Some pretty heartfelt requests. We all know that data is the new oil, of course. But it can also be stolen more easily than oil. And it's quite delicate. It costs quite a lot of money to look after data, to keep it safe, and to keep it uncorrupted. Fine for a few gigabytes or terabytes. Much, much more difficult, very practical, maybe even boring. But my goodness, essential. We would simply drown under unmanaged data if we don't innovate. And necessity is always the mother of invention. Maybe it was time to ask the machines to come to our rescue again. Maybe it was time to ask data to look after itself. Enter an autonomous database. The data looks after itself. You can ask it for what you want. It is the most innovative offering out of Oracle, certainly in my lifetime there. It's self-driving. It'll configure itself, it'll install itself, it'll tune itself, change the workload, and it will work out, I need to do this, I need to do that, how to perform. It's quite incredible. You know, we bought the Netflix application, the business application that runs on Oracle. It had taken decades of Netflix software designers to create and tune the Oracle database to really run Netflix, to run NetSuite fast, to run it quickly, which indexes. We took away all of that. We put NetSuite on the autonomous database and let it go. Within a matter of hours, just hours, the autonomous database had worked out what to do. I need an index here, I need an index here, I should change this, I should move that, to get the same performance as had taken years of manual tuning. It's self-securing. It'll patch itself when it needs to be patched. It'll be awake 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Why is this person accessing that information from that location at this time? That's strange. That's strange. Let's have a look. It can do that for itself. And if anything does go wrong in the system, disks fail, processor boards fail, it'll restore itself. Less than 2.5 minutes a month. What it means is boring but essential. We can cut costs. We reduce administration. That doesn't mean jobs go. It means jobs change. What's new in technology? What's new in technology? I started assembler language programming, and along came a compiler. It didn't put me out of a job. It made me more productive. But it also reduced costs in the underlying infrastructure because it tunes. It reduced risks because it's self-securing. And perhaps most importantly of all, in today's world, let's stop spending time on keeping the lights on and direct these dollars, euros, pounds, and more importantly, minutes of brain power into innovating and harnessing innovation. It's available in 2 flavors, the data warehouse, and also for high throughput transaction processing, what's called the ATP, the Autonomous Transaction Processing. You'll hear more about these in our breakout sessions. Let's make in the last 5 minutes, let's make the last trip in our journey. So we'll leave Redwood City and everybody there developing the autonomous database. And this time we'll take a car and we'll go north. We'll go over Golden Gate Bridge and we'll head into, well, we can go up the coast through Sonoma or we can go through Napa. Try not to be distracted too much in Napa. Continue north all the way through Oregon and we get to Washington State and Seattle. And it's in Seattle, headquartered, again, everybody's around the world, but headquartered in Seattle, is the newest development team within Oracle. And they're looking at cloud infrastructure. I don't know how many Wi-Fi connections you have in your office or how many Alexas you have in your home. They won't work if you don't have electricity or if the windows let the rain in. They'll destroy everything. And the building won't be there if it's not for the foundations. Never mind your Alexa. Obvious. Obvious. We all depend on our fabric of our buildings and the foundations below. What's new? And yet, often, we do forget that in IT. We do forget that. And sometimes we build more and more complex and fancy, high functionality buildings on top of weak foundations. This worried us. This worried us a lot. How will we ever achieve true scalability and true security, however fancy our buildings are, if the foundations are rocky? People will get underneath and drill underneath. Frankly, it wasn't an easy choice. It wasn't cheap. It was not cheap. But we had to build a completely new foundation for the cloud. We ran out of innovation when we came up with a name because we called it Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. Not very innovative, but a very innovative capability. It was on a white piece of paper. We started from a blank paper. Lots of knowledge, lots of IP, but almost every other architecture in the world, maximum availability, clustering, failover, almost everything had been designed for an enterprise, really single tenancy, and blown up. To meet the world of true hyperscale, highly secure cloud, we had no choice but to build a completely new infrastructure. So we did. We did. In Seattle. We'll talk more about this in the breakouts. Its most essential element is at the heart, security. We've separated the control plane from the compute and data. Sounds obvious. Wasn't done in the past. The processors, the memory, the computers, which manage the cloud, which say, start up another database, shut down this, move power from there to there. The control plane, people who can access the control plane cannot access the actual cloud compute and data. And if you're a user of the cloud compute and data, you physically cannot access the control, an impenetrable barrier. The other key design point had to be hyper performance. Of course, the fastest networking, of course, the fastest disk capability, of course, the right flat architecture to give hyperscale is built in, and artificial intelligence. So again, the infrastructure can tune itself to optimize performance for the workloads. Once again, information being used to maximize scarce resource given ever-increasing demand. Now, we're very, very confident of this new architecture. It's a great relief, I can tell you. It's a great relief, because this is big dollar investments. This is big money, building data centers around the world. We're really happy with this architecture. Data center builds, the investment has gone up through the roof. We're also committed, one of the most interesting aspects of the cloud is to have a slice of the cloud in your data center, cloud at customer. We're committed to ensuring that you can have the database, cloud at customer, but using this new infrastructure. We're committed to doing that. Now, there's more to an infrastructure than the compute and the storage. There's much more needed if you're going to innovate quickly, if you're going to create applications such as Mercedes was showing, or you're going to meet the needs of your customers. You're going to need to build applications quickly. You're going to need access to blockchain and IoT, just like that. You can't wait to install and configure. I want it now. You will need to integrate more data, more data, more data Machine learning is useless with no data. You're going to need to integrate with more and more systems. Integration is not a thing of the past. It's going to go up in the future. You need that immediately. I need access to it. I don't want to wait 3 months before I get my integration going. I want it from my cloud infrastructure now. Yes, machines will look at our data, but humans will need to as well. And the security must stretch beyond the processors, beyond even the database, to when our data is being used in other environments. We need all of these things from a generation 2 cloud, a new generation of cloud to serve us for decades to come. And so, I shall leave you in Seattle with the coffee shops and the grunge bands and the cloud infrastructure development group. But as you well know, our journey doesn't really finish there. All of us, of course, are journeying into an uncertain future. We're committed to making that path as simple for you, and I will be very candid here, especially for our existing customers who have been loyal to us for decades. We are totally committed to ensuring that your path is as easy as possible into the future. We believe in coexistence. What you already have must not be thrown out because of innovation. There is nothing wrong with innovating and keeping our assets as they are. And we see and are embedding intelligence at every layer that we can. Perhaps the most important thing in any journey, especially into an uncertain future, is who goes along with you on that journey. Who's your buddy? Who's your partner? I would love it. We, Oracle, would love it if you would choose us to be your partner in that journey. Ladies and gentlemen, enjoy the day. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Thank you.